Well, hello and welcome. And well, today's conversation is one that should have been probably maybe part 1 to 10, but we have part 1 and we'll try and compact everything. Indeed, it's one topic which this month, if you have an ounce of Ghanaian blood in you, you probably are not the happiest Ghanaian this month, or particularly this week. The spate of corruption, and we're dealing with corruption, and we're asking if Ghana is losing her moral principles. Now, the level of impunity now in Ghana is beyond belief. The culture of free for all and everything should be free, it's amazing. Quantity is now the name of the game. Quality has been raised from our dictionary. Nothing to do with quality. But today we're dealing with corruption, and normally we'll be speaking to somebody within the political class or something because we are talking about corruption. No. Today I'm talking to a man of the cloth, a man of God. Why? Because if you look at our religious divide in this country, the great majority of us are indeed Christians. And I'm sure we have more churches than schools in this country. Every corner is a church. I mean, some just make... Even on the motorway, there's a guy who puts his tent there and has a church on Sundays. And it's all filled. All the churches are filled. Indeed, Fridays and the mosques, the Muslims also patronize their mosque very well. So we are very religious. And in each of these religions, we are taught not to be corrupt. Don't touch what is not yours. Think of your neighbor as yourself. That's the basis of all these religions that we practice to the core. But come Monday morning when we pick up the newspapers, you ask yourself, is it the 2% or 1% who are atheists, who are then in the banks and the institutions looting state money? Or is it the same choristers and the same church clerks who are signing off monies that don't belong to them? And it's become so much that, you're reading and you're like, okay, next paper. You look at the Public Accounts Committee, and it's as if they're just rubbing salt in your wound. Someone is there, his charges are read to him, very painful, very wrong, very immoral. He says, I'm sorry, gets in his car, drives back to work, business as usual. At worst, a transfer. So I am asking, where are our moral rights or our moral principles for the country to get to where it is? My name is Nana Ansakwa, the 4th Chief of Akonwedu Masa. When I come back, I'm speaking to a man of God to find out where it is and how it is we got here. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying. Is Ghana losing her moral principles, or maybe has Ghana lost its moral principles? With me in the studio is Rev. Dr. Rev.Opuni Frimpong, General Secretary, Christian Council of Ghana. Indeed, a very, very vibrant advocate against all things wrong. And I think you would say he's an anti-corruption crusader. I mean, you can comfortably fit him in there because unlike us who wait for the headlines before we talk, he's constantly writing and prompting. And one of his charges to the president, which I always repeat, is that, Mr. President, make the brim drinkable in your term. And I think that's a big one, it's a big challenge. If you're listening to me and you have access to the president, tell him that during his 4 years, he should make the brim drinkable again, and we shall remember him for that. So, thank you so much, and you're welcome.
It's a pleasure, Nana.
Once upon a time, when we were young, there was a house in the Kropong, and there was this big inscription, Wubisawun fi, Wubisawun sika. They ask you where your home is, but they don't ask you how much money you have. And back then, schools were owned by missions. And when schools were owned by missions, I know Muslim parents who wanted their children to go to those schools, even though they did not they did not follow the faith, but as for the discipline and the structure in the school, they wanted it for the awards. I know once upon a time, the Christian Council said, look, give us our schools back, let's manage it. I am for it because of the discipline. And leading to all the charges I'm going to levy at also for today, I'm going to ask, what's happening to that so that at least we can get structure back in society.
And thanks for the opportunity, and let me say good evening to our cherished viewers. Yes, once upon a time, like you said, in this country, in fact, even before government came into education, the churches, the missionary churches were already in there. It's around 1951, 1961 that government enacted various policies to be part of what the churches were doing. And that's how the concept government-assisted school came into being. And you realize that apart from every curriculum, whatever you were running, there was a very clear philosophy by the churches that when you are into formation, when you are building a person up, it is the head, the heart, and the hand. So you must pay equal attention to the intellectual level of the person, but also the emotional, the moral side of the person must equally be developed. You don't detach morality from intellectual abilities, and of course you train the hand as well, so that you don't produce engineers who say somebody had done mechanical engineering at the university, but middle of the road something can break down, and even fixing of lorry tire becomes a problem, because if he will soil his or her head. That was the philosophy of the missionary education, and therefore the inscription you mentioned, that you ask for people's homes, not just building, but the morality, what this family represent, what is important to these people, not just money. It doesn't mean that they didn't pay attention to money, but values, moral values were important, and that was what the mission schools, church schools brought. And therefore the example you gave, that you could have people who may not necessarily be Christians, but they will still respect the mission schools. But like I said earlier on, the 1951, 1961 various policies that brought government in. Government came in to assist, not to take over. But when we went into the 1980s, something changed. To the extent that now Ghana Education Service felt that we must marginalize and sideline the churches. And it affected the ownership of the schools. It affected the management of our schools. It affected the supervision of the schools, and also product coming from our schools in terms of discipline. Of course, these products are out there on our street. Now you have contractors who will contract roads in Ghana, and just within 2 years, you need one heavy rainfall, and that road is calling for maintenance. You get people who are building schools for Ghana Education Service, and just give yourself 2 years. You go to the rural areas, schools that are celebrating 30 years and all that, the building is strong. You come to modern day schools, less than 5 years, one heavy rainfall, and the roof is gone. And now it's becoming difficult on our roads, environment, in the name of now the things we are hearing, what we are doing to ourselves. So we are happy and want to commend the government, the current administration, that are giving signal that now they want to revisit something, that they want the churches. As for the schools, they belong to the churches. We still have pride in our schools, and we know the schools are ours. But the management, that's our understanding of what the president and his team, the Minister of Education, is saying, that now have bigger space in your schools in terms of management, be part of it, and then supervision, and then the moral upbringing of product from our schools. And we are waiting, we are calling for the minister to bring us on board in a meeting to work out the modalities, where the churches have been waiting for this, because there's a contribution we must make. Like you started with your intro, the number of people in our churches, and the same as at mosques, and the kind of, you know, the moral decadence we are witnessing, something must be done.
So is this, okay, maybe we missed them in the schools. In the schools, we could have formed them. But you still have control of Sunday schools, Masalachi, I don't know if you can speak to it, but then church. And I mean, nowadays, you know, Wednesdays is Bible lessons, Thursdays is, you know, meeting the pastor, Fridays is all night, Sunday is regular church, Monday is consultation. So I mean, we are going to church, and there are more churches, and it seems that the more we go to church, the worse the news becomes. So what's happening?
Yeah, you see, now when you are into socialization process, when you are getting people ready for society, you know, there are various agencies, the home, the religious bodies, like you are saying, schools. Even let's say media is also part of it. But let's say even the home, religious, you know, so church, mosques, and then also school. Let's even work with the three. You know. Now you must target the child, home, school, and the church, like you are saying. And you must work on the three at the same time. At the moment, at a point, they wanted to even delete religion and moral education from the curriculum. They tried, and the Christian Council and Catholic Bishop called for it, and then they brought it back. Now, if you look at the curriculum we are running now, it's like give Ghanaian child science, technology, mathematics, and everything will be fine. And it's like now we are not paying much attention to morality in our school. So yes, we are producing intelligent Ghanaians who are smart, who can now take a whole big chunk of money that should go into health, that should go educate and share between and among themselves. And we're having more of that. You know, we're having more. And it's not just one political party. All of them. All of them. MPP, NDC, they are all the same. Whether contractors under NDC, contractors under MPP, they're all the same. So now the focus must be the kind of knowledge we are giving to Ghanaian children in our schools, primary, junior high, secondary, university, so that moral formation must be part of the curriculum we are running. And then the churches and the homes must also add up to whatever is being done. At the moment, we are not paying much attention to morality in our schools. What that means is we are producing intelligent criminals. And so when this intelligent criminal, because they know English, they know science, they know computer, they have knowledge in engineering from our various institutions, they come to the church and they come with knowledge. You are talking about Wednesday prayer meeting and church days and church that, you know, but these people who are, if they are into computer science, they are sharp guys who can manipulate now your computer to do things that you have no idea about. You see, if they bring that knowledge to church, smart people, they hear you, but they know what they are going to do, you know. So we have, you know, it's been said how many times that education without moral and spiritual values will always produce intelligent criminals. And I don't know how many we have produced so far in this country. You see, so yes, you go to church, you go home, but the more our educational institutions are producing intelligent criminals, it's making the work difficult. We are having lawyers, we are having engineers, we are even sometimes pastors, you know, but the point I'm making is we must pay attention to moral formation, ethics of Ghanaian children and the products coming from our various institutions. You see, else we are producing intelligent criminals, and they are in church, but it's extension of what they know best. So even in church now, sometimes you go to church, in the middle of a service, they announce that when you are going out there anywhere, offering, carry your bag. Because even in church, some people have come. Now, even in the name of church, you have intelligent criminals. And colleague pastors must understand, we have been called to be faithful, not to prove to the whole world how powerful men of God we are. Now you are having we are producing pastors who are salesmen of water, anointing, oil, salesmen of anything in the name of church. Sometimes even morality in church, in the name of church, some of the things our pastors are doing, and these are all intelligent criminals. People who have found that, if you go into church, you can make it big. Years ago, church people, yes, were raising money, but church monies were going to education. Church monies were going to health delivery system. Now, health church is how many cars does the pastor drive? So you can have one pastor who is having 5 cars, 10 cars, and they are still idle. You get pastor that every year they customize a new, so this 2017, 2016, and they are happy. And poor people are with us, but they don't care.
So, leading to my next question, that is our society now, maybe, because mostly prosperity is being packaged and preached in so many forms. Prosperity, unlock your money, unlock your finances. It is going to rain this, so much prosperity. So it's like now it feels as if people don't care where your money came from. Just have it, and you have front row seat. Could this overloading of prosperity teaching be a factor?
We as religious people, religious leaders, must be careful and must be worried about some of the things we are hearing. Parents, traditional leaders, our government. In fact, President Kufuor's time, he initiated, at least we have a whole minister for national orientation. Now, the issues you are raising, I think we are there. We need national orientation. We must be a nation that pride ourselves in values, and we must have our national values, and we must put premium on hard work. We must put premium on patriotism. We must put premium on, yes, wealth, but wealth that comes out of hard work, where that people can go public and tell. I should be able to tell my people and other people how I bought this car, whether I pick a loan from bank or how. We should be able to disclose the secret of our success and our wealth in public to people. And family members must have values that this home, we cherish hard work, we cherish faithfulness. If you're a member of this family, you can't go out there. They say, Abansika, and you're Abansika, you're Mansika. The money doesn't belong to Aban sitting somewhere. This is Ghanaian money that should go to. Now look at what we are hearing from Komfanoche. How many children die in a day? You see? And you can give money to government officials, and they are increasing wealth, and they don't feel shame. Ghana must have that sense of shame when people are now thieves in suits. Somebody must disturb us a bit. You see, so Nana, I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with prosperity. We must succeed, but we must have a credible source of our wealth, something that we can recommend to people. You see, something that we are proud of. Gradually, we are becoming a nation that we celebrate thieves. And now people who are working hard, who are becoming like, if we have all been to Accra and somebody is building number 1, number 2, and you are an innocent person and you started a building, 15 years you are still on. It's like you went to Accra and your eyes are not properly open. So we need to define national values, and I pray that the current government will see the need that something is all wrong. What we are doing to our own environment, our water bodies, Ghanaians, frontline for foreigners who don't care, destroying everything. And somebody is getting money and calling them nana nana, and they are happy. We must be ashamed. Ghana must have values.
I was going to go to shame, but let me come to the quote unquote fools aspect. Because as it is now, those who haven't taken money are fools. Because those who took the money, I'll bring it back, and they've gone free. So if we all work 30 years, so when I took, $4 million, I get caught somewhere along the line, so don't worry, there's 40,000, I'll bring the rest later. You are saying, look, as for me, I'm a man of God, I didn't take it. So how, and generally, You then thinking, I must have taken some, because if that's all the consequences, and it's the trend in traffic, people drive by you, you get there and there's a policeman and they are gone. So also for the issue of fools issues, those who are not taking are really doing themselves.
Oh, yes. So now you see what we are celebrating in this country, and that's why I keep saying Christian or religious leaders must be worried. The Ghana, the nation we are building, and our political leaders must be worried. It should not be business as usual, because now it's like we sort of normalizing abnormality. Now that's what we are doing to ourselves, and people are not ashamed of things that are shameful. They are not. Rather, if you have been faithful and working hard, and you have been driving an old 15-year-old car, people tend to make you feel bad. That look at you, where you are, look at your car, and look at this young man, without asking the source. Where is this worth coming? Now you go home and families now don't care. Traditional leaders, including now church, that sometimes people are coming. Now we started this Galamsey campaign, and some pastors are coming out to say that we don't want Galamsey money in our church. I pray and hope that we go beyond that. That we don't want monies that you are stolen from the nation, monies that should go into health, education, environmental issue. You destroy this and you come and sit in church. Let us appreciate that what we are doing to ourselves, we are killing innocent babies. The number of children who are dying in our hospitals, basic things like oxygen, ambulances have been packed. Basic things. And it's like the moment you put political color, NDC, MPP colors on some of these things, it's done. You are done. Let somebody, and then you make it an NDC or MPP issue. And then you get people from various political parties and government defending what is not supposed to be defended. And this is what we are doing to ourselves as a country. And I believe, and I want to recommend that seriously, we must put national orientation as a bigger national issue and address it. Gradually, our people are not ashamed of shameful acts.
One of the issues I was going to say that, back in the days, families used to travel to get oracles, come and plant the oracle in the house, only that shame will never come to the house. So nobody will fall mentally ill, leprosy, anything that would bring any shame to the name, they protected it with everything. But how is it possible for a society that once upon a time lived in the fear of shame come to a point where it's no more part of our culture?
That is why when you raised the issue earlier on, and I was talking about socialization, I went back to the schools. Now, moral bit of formation in our school is very weak. The children who are coming from our schools, primary school, junior high, secondary school, universities, we have a problem. We have a problem because, one, you are running a curriculum that will not give much time even for moral formation, you see. But now Ghanaian children, people coming from our schools, are very sharp. And they are not only sharp that when you give them computer, they can work with it, but they know how to manipulate it. So now you get people who can get closer to a bank, and as people are doing transaction at the ATM, they know how to get your password and empty your account within seconds. You know people who can do all manner of things, forging signatures and doing all kind. They know that they can scan this and all that. And to now some of the things they do now, if you are not very sharp, if you are not sharp in your brains, you cannot do it. You cannot do it. So now there's a way that we are producing a new Ghanaian who is very sharp intellectually, but the fear of God moral values, sense of shame are not there.
Because hold on for me, I'm going to take a quick break. Because my next question is: should the president of the state or the ministry say, "Okay, there you go, churches, missions, take your schools"? After all these years of free for all and everything must be free, quantity, no quality, is it going to be a culture shock, bringing discipline back? Because nowadays, even if you didn't tuck in properly, was a problem. You didn't button properly, was a problem. You didn't. I mean, your appearance should look sparkling. Otherwise, even that was an issue. Could that sort of system be brought back? Or Ghana is now modern and new, and culture is indeed dynamic, so we cannot sort of bring it back. Don't move, we're coming. Well, thank you very much for staying. And just before the break, I wanted to find out, with how everything seems to have broken down, and indeed, in one of my stories, I said God sent an angel, and when he came to Ghana, he really did not recognize us. Our food has changed, our language has changed, our dressing has changed. And when he was communicating back to God, God says, no, those were not the people who are left, because even our names have changed. We are a different breed. Should the missions get these schools now? Is it going to be a culture shock for parents to send their wards to school? I'm sure when they come back, there will be war. I mean, that's, military or regimental discipline. I wouldn't say it was abuse. It was just like very regimental. You wake up, scrub the bathhouse, you do this, you weed your plot, you lay your bed and get to, or do all that and still get to class. I mean, can that system be brought back, or we will have to look at the sign of the times and then tame it down?
Yeah, but Nana, all is not lost. There are some Ghanaians who are doing things right. There are, whether traditional leaders, whether in media, whether even in church, there are some pastors who are doing it right. Even on our roads, security, police, military, there are some who are doing. Sometimes, recently I attended a funeral at Begro, and this couple were in marriage about 67, 68 years. One marriage. These days that you get people who I have seen 3 weeks wedding that collapsed. I saw 68. I've seen 50. So maybe sometimes we need to catalog the good examples also and project it so that we find a way of encouraging ourselves. Because as we go into attitudinal change, we need good examples also to present. But back to the issue you are raising. You see, now this is why we are calling for our schools. As for the schools, they are us. But the challenge is the management, because at a point the churches were sidelined, and we have suffered disrespect from GS, from our schools. They make appointment and your school, but they don't refer anything to you. You are not part of the process, and you have somebody in your school who will come to school. The school is just next to the manse where the bishop, the pastor lives. The chapel is here. Your teacher comes to school late, drunk, and they tell you that school that you have raised money to build, you dare not raise a voice about the teachers in your school and what is happening in your school. And the children are learning from the teachers. So if you have a teacher who is not disciplined, what are you producing? Intelligent criminals. You are producing students who are learning, using that teacher as a mentor, And that had been what we call disrespect. That I spend my resources building school, and you tell me that I have no say in my school. And therefore you reach a point where school buildings are deteriorating, church members are building their cathedral, their churches, but they watch the school because they feel that this head or the teachers in this school, they don't respect us. But if we are getting our space, our rightful space in our schools, over the years, our chaplaincy department is what we use, So it is not examinable, courses per se, but specific things like, time consciousness, for instance, cleanliness, like you are saying. Even despite the challenges we have had, you take Achimota out and you realize that as at now, almost all the best second cycle institutions in Ghana, despite the challenges we are talking about, are the mission schools. The Presec, the Prempe, Opokuware, Brig Girls, Wesley Girls, Disadon, Fansepim, St. Rose's, the colleges of education, PTC, Cropon, Wesley College, Agogo PTC, whatever. These are all, and all the St. Mary's, St. Monica's, and all of them, St. Peter's, Pope Jones, these are all mission schools. And the discipline is still there, even though it's not up to the desirable level that we will want. But you realize that the mission schools with the chaplains still have certain levels that, So we feel that we need more space in our schools in terms of ownership, in terms of supervision, in terms of management, and then moral side of what, because for us the philosophy is develop the mind or the head, the hand, and the heart. Don't let anybody get out of the school without affecting the head, the heart, and the hand. And we must go back to that principle. But that is where at least the mission, the churches, the Christian Council of Ghana, and the Kali Bishop Conference, these are areas that we know we can bring something and can make significant contribution to formation of people who walk out of our schools.
So how did we get here? Is it just failure of leadership, or is it multifaceted? I don't know. I haven't been able to draw why it is we got here. So many things just broke down like that.
I think, this is a nation coming out of a revolution. And during the revolution, I think we hurt ourselves as a people. Discipline in this country, it seems to me, broke down. Because now you got young people who felt they will not respect their traditional leaders, they will not respect their bosses and all that. Sometimes I feel the indiscipline we are having have some of the aftermath of the revolution.
But the one who said during the revolution there was structure. I mean, and they will always say, Salifu Amankwa at circle would keep circle neat, and you dare not keep circle.
Now, you see, so now you move from the revolution, and it's like now we are free. So now, if Salifu Amankwa beats me, I'll send him to court. And now it's difficult to do it. So we are coming from a revolution with something that we couldn't do this over there, either we could do this, or the things we could not do, now we can do that. But that is not all. For us, other people can come into this discourse. But for us as religious leaders, for us as moral leaders, we feel that our schools are not producing the Ghanaians. The Ghanaian that we want. We are not getting them from academic institutions. And we must revisit not only science, mathematics, engineering, but ethics, morality. And that is why we must pay attention to national values. I will want our leaders to define what are our national values. This nation called Ghana, what are the values that we cherish? That if we don't get, we will feel bad, we feel sorry. What are the values that we want to see at workplace? You see, I was in a hospital in South Africa, and you enter into the hospital, biometric, the quality assurance, somebody is monitoring. They start you with red, then you move to yellow, and you move to blue and green. But every point, somebody is monitoring how many minutes you must spend when you are in red, how many minutes you must spend when you are in yellow, how many minutes, as you move on. And if you spend more minutes in red than you are supposed to, somebody walks straight from the quality assurance and come and find out who is keeping you there as you move on till you get to green and you exit. Now you go to Kolebu, you go to Komfanoche, and the OPD is another marketplace. And it's like, but it has always been like that. What are our values even in health delivery? So that people go to hospital, and we know that they are supposed to spend 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours in our hospital. Who is monitoring that? Issues we are talking about here is not only corruption as somebody even taking 40 million, whatever, but even time consciousness. Time consciousness in our hospital. People are contracting diseases in our hospitals. They don't go to hospitals with it, they come home with. But now it's like, business as usual. What are our values on our roads? What are our values on our environment? somebody must let this be part of what we are pursuing. Now, that impression is, oh, get science, technology, build roads, build this, and Ghana will be fine. You don't only need infrastructure to develop a nation. You need people with moral consciousness, people with values who cherish something, patriotism, to build Ghana. So yes, we must build the roads, we must build whatever, but we must build the citizens who have the nation at heart. People who are patriotic. At the moment, we are losing that fight. But it's like, oh, the more the roads are done. And now we make almost all national issues, we relate them with winning election. You see? So now our leaders are also pushing us, moving from the revolution to democracy. Now the things that are important to us in this country are the things our leaders will do so that they win the next election. Now all of them have started Agenda 2020. NPP is talking about Agenda 2020. NDC is talking about, I have yet to hear from Okwadonko what Agenda 2020 should look like. But now NPP, NDC, or Agenda 2020, the moment they start talking like that, they are, you know, what do we do so we win the next election? And most often, they don't talk about moral values, sense of patriotism, hard work, sound work ethics. These are not part of the issues they raise.
So let me take my last break, because that's one thing, because when we come back, I want to find out if a politician mounted a platform and says, look, I'm here for moral values, are we going to vote for that person? Okay. Well, fellow citizens, you know, as you know, my Agenda 2020, I am seeking your vote. And what I am going to champion is bring back the value of shame, bring back our moral dissidence, make sure your children dress well. I'm going to make sure your children are proper Ghanaians who will build this future, and I want your vote.
We must start from somewhere. Maybe for Agenda 2020, if I get a politician talking like this, it may look like a strange bird.
You probably call the psychiatrist.
But can we get ministers of state who want to say, I want to do things right? In fact, let me say that somebody like the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, he has started very well. He deserves our congratulations. I will pray that he will stay focused. You know, we have people who are doing things right. The same with the previous administration. There are people who mean business. Who mean well with us. You know, so they may not start the way you announce it. Agenda 2020. I want to make your children so vote for me. But can we get ministers who are conscious with time? That Ghanaians will begin to see the difference. Now you find leaders, politicians, government officials who don't respect traffic lights. But they want ordinary Ghanaians to respect because they are driving in latest Land Cruiser. They've tainted their grass, and then they put on the hazard. And so everybody must give way to them because they are serving who? And who is the nurse, that nurse who is stuck in traffic? Who is that nurse who wants to go to hospital to attend to a patient? Who is that nurse serving? That teacher who wants to get to school on time? You know, instead of our leaders solving problems, they are pushing for their self-comfort. You see? So that money that you serve 100 people, one person is not ashamed that I can take it. So Ghanaians must begin seeing example that this man is different. This man is different. You may not necessarily announce that Agenda 2020, I want to come and change. But let's change begin from our leaders that this man, this minister is different. You get ministers who, when they are wrong, they go public to say, I'm sorry, I made mistake. You see? So now we begin to see the difference. You see humility, you see arrogance. You see that they themselves are doing something different. And that's why I keep calling for national orientation. And national orientation, we church people must also accept it. There's too much corruption in the church as well. We are not doing certain things right. How can a church member go to bank, take, say, 12,000 pounds to the pastor? The pastor, bless my money, but why Ghanaian Christians can't pray simple prayer on money? that you must take your money to a pastor, your own money you have worked for. You take the money from bank and you must send it to a pastor to bless it. And now the pastor has taken the money. And now the case is in court. The person says, I brought the money to you, pastor, to pray for on the money for me. The pastor says, no, you said it was a dash, a gift. Now, if it's a gift, it's not a gift. What do? Give the money back. If you felt the person, church member, was giving you a gift, and now the person is yourself, it's no more a gift. Common sense. Okay, I thought it was a gift. Now that I know it's not a gift, then this is your money. You say, I've taken the money. Now, if pastors can behave like this in this country, what is that? The church Ghanaians have known over the years were Christianity that were providing education to Ghanaian children. Christianity that was providing health services. Now we are getting churches in Ghana, churches that are making pastors richer and richer and richer and richer. And church members, you go to church and your own church is not adding one classroom to basic education. We must think. Pastors must also, now you get pastors who are anointing any part of human body in the name of God. What is that? See, so yes, Nana, we may not necessarily go to platform and say also for MP, but let's all start the change process, and gradually we will get there. Let's define national ideals, national values, and work towards that. Let traditional leaders, now you get our traditional leaders who are either they are part of it, they are not part of it, only heaven knows. But this galamsey thing, sometimes it's difficult to exonerate traditional leaders. And your people cannot get quality, our water bodies have been affected with mercury and cyanide, and people are getting kidney diseases that we have not known all these years. Also, and we don't feel anything wrong about this.
Also, for demand and supply, is it what we are being fed, or is that what we are demanding?
Or both.
Or both.
You see, we must, wealth is good, but wealth must honorably end. People in the Bible, it said a good name is better than riches. It doesn't mean riches, but good name. We will by all means exit. Sometimes we behave as if we are not conscious that one day I will exit. And we must be mindful about the legacies we leave behind. And these are some of the things we are talking about. So yes, I need good life. I want to drive the best car in town. Why not? I need to educate my children, but I must always be legacy minded. So no matter the demand and the supply, Nana, Ghanaians and our leaders and church leaders, traditional leaders, government officials, this country must begin respecting legacy. People must be legacy conscious. Colleague pastors, let us be legacy minded. The mere fact that you are the pastor and your wife is the best dressed woman in Ghana, you drive the best car. God did not call us to drive the best car. If Jesus died, he died for our salvation. Jesus did not die for us to drive the best car in Accra and have our helicopters and all that and so what.
So, but you think we can bring this culture back, or we've lost it?
For you even to gather courage this evening and for the owners of this business to allow you to raise this issue as important issue is a good beginning. Why are you, we have 1,001 issues that multimedia for this moment to talk about. You have staff, you are paying, workers are still here working. Now for this media house to accept that this issue is important, Ghana needs to revisit national orientation, national moral issues of corruption affect all of us. Let's respond to that. For somebody to allow you to use this platform to talk about this is a good beginning. If we all go this way, recently we started this Galamsey Fine, and so many people. Now, if we are moving for this campaign that corruption is destroying greater part of us, and Ghana must come back to moral values. We need national orientation, and that find a way into our leaders' mind and thought and policies. We will get there. It may take us how many years, but we'll get there.
I got this. Somebody sent me this on WhatsApp, so I'll share it with you. I think there's a picture on it called Cory Booker. So I think it's from Cory Booker. It says, "Don't speak to me about your religion. First, show it to me in how you treat other people. Don't tell me how much you love your God. Show me in how much you love all God's children. Don't preach to me your passion for your faith. Teach me through your compassion for your neighbors. In the end, I am not as interested in what you have to tell or sell as I am in how you choose to live and give." And I think it's one of the things that we can add into in our national orientation. Also, why I'm very, very grateful this evening. You have shed a lot of light and insight into it. And I want to use you to thank the Presbyterian Church that came to help us on Monday to choose the Okuaping Hima, Awopra, and all the. It was so beautiful to see chiefs on one side, all the reverend ministers on one side, choosing a traditional ruler, whereas first you thought it was a separate business. I think it was fantastic, and Monday went very, very beautiful. So through the Christian Council, to thank the Presbyterian Church for coming to help us on Monday. And thank you so much for coming.
Some of you are giving us good examples. Keep it up. God bless you.
Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you very much for watching.